Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Celtic 2, Kilmarnock 0. I mean, it's rare. We've actually won a league game for the first time since September. It's quite a crazy start in itself, but we do pick up 3 points for a change. We dispatch of a difficult side in Kilmarnock. Of course, we spoke a lot in the match preview about how tricky a game this could be. But, you know, Neil Lennon done the right thing. He started the players who played well on Thursday, and in doing so, he's picked up the result that we know we can be capable of. You know, we've got the players, we've got the squad to do it. He's just not used them. He's not used players like Turnbull. He's not used players like Soro. And now tonight, we can be happy for a change. You know, a Shane Duffy goal, a Celtic win. It's the end of the world, for God's sake. So, of course, the gap's still there in the league. Rangers today winning 2-1 against Dundee United, but we got our job done. Our side of the business is complete. It's over and done with. And it brings to an end a run of league form which was... It was embarrassing, to say the least. And today there was definitely more positives. David Turnbull, the man himself. This video can just literally revolve around David Turnbull, almost like the Celtic game revolved around David Turnbull today. And I'm not saying he was the only good player in the park. There's a lot of good performances, and we'll come to them as the video goes on. But today, David Turnbull was magic. He was pulling all the strings in the middle. And he's really solidified himself as a constant starter now. And of course, on Thursday night, when I came on and done my review of the Lille game, I spoke about how good I thought Turnbull was, and especially how good I thought Ismaila Soro was. Today, Soro didn't have to do much. He didn't put a foot wrong. There was nothing bad about him. He had a pretty bang average game in all things considered, because it wasn't a game that really suited his style of play. Thursday was perfect for him in the sense that we were sitting deep. You know, we kind of dropped back that extra 10 yards than we normally would. We sat deep and we let them have a lot of the ball. He was there to break up the play. He was in and about these different passes. He was running from player to player. Against Kilmarnock, you're not really going to have that. They're more of a, you know, when we get the ball, let's break and try and get something. It's not really Soro's kind of, well, what I assume Soro's game from very little we've seen of him and heard of him. It's not really his type of game, so I didn't expect him to be heavily involved with the game today against Kilmarnock, but he didn't put a foot wrong. The player to talk about, though, is David Turnbull. Single-handedly, he's got to come in here and have the greatest chance of saving this season. And that's not me sitting here before anybody decides to clip me saying, oh, just because he's in the team, that's it, 10 in a row on, Rangers are gubbed. That's not what I'm saying. But if there's any positive, I shouldn't even say that. If there's any hope, any optimistic chance of us going to win this league title and close that gap completely, I believe it's going to run through David Turnbull at this point. He's the greatest chance we've got of pulling things back. He's just a different type of player, and a player that, you know, I thought was always going to struggle coming into the Celtic team at first. As much as I wanted him to, I was from the very start saying, you know, we should be playing Turnbull from the start of this season. As you'll know if you've been watching the videos, I've wanted Turnbull in our 11. I thought he was part of our best 11. But I always thought it was going to be hard for him coming in, because you have players like Rogic and Christie who are already established in that kind of number 10 role. And then you've got that kind of, you know, will he be perfect playing beside the likes of Brown? People were saying he should replace Brown when he's nothing like Scott Brown. It was always going to be hard for him to get into the team, but now he's came in, and I think he's shown in the last 2 games how good he can be. And I don't want to jinx anything. We'll take it a game at a time at this point. That's what we have to do. This is the start of something. But just on his performance today, it was brilliant. He's crossing, fantastic again. Pinpoint delivery. Right on to Shane Duffy's head for the second. The same as well, a little bit of ambition behind his game. You see him taking shots, and I know we always complain at like Ryan Christie for doing things which he shouldn't, and sometimes that is just shooting from ridiculous angles. But I think Turnbull's shots and his attempts on goal were a lot more calculated today. I think that you don't see from Christie a lot where there's logic behind it. You know, Turnbull's take the ball forward. He's got a 25-yard gap between him and the goal, and he's not got anybody around him. I think Celtic have been very guilty of not being ambitious enough in those situations over the past few years. You know, we pass out wide, we go for something when we should be taking a shot on. He's a kind of player who possesses a good shot and scores a lot of goals from there, so if he feels the confidence, I'd like to see us take those chances, because ultimately Celtic a lot of the time are very prone to trying to walk into the back of the net and we get nothing from it. And I'm not saying from now on I just want to see David Turnbull spraying shots from left, right and centre. I don't think that's the answer, but it's definitely nice to see a little more ambition in the team and a little more forward thinking. Because, you know, we've been struggling to get goals, and if he can get a goal from shooting from range, it's better than us struggling and doing it with too many passes, and I mean at the end of the day not doing it from too many passes. So Turnbull's performance today is the highlight of the game. We'll just get out the road, because, you know, I could sit for 10, 15 minutes and talk about him. With everything that he done to the game, and his role was perfect. I think him sitting in front of the two centre midfielders, the two McGregor and Soro, is perfect for him. And of course it's difficult because we've seen Rogic come back in and come on to a game now. He's kind of in that scenario where who do we play, Rogic or Turnbull? Because we all love Rogic, but I feel like Turnbull has to be there and he should be starting week in, week out. I'm nothing but smiling over his performance. It's great. 2 starts, 1 goal, and technically 2 assists, but if you give him 3, thank you Lewis Laird, by the way, for this tweet. I'm stealing this from you. I'm giving you credit though. Yeah, that's a good return so far. For 2 starts, 1 goal, and technically 3 assists. Brilliant. Honestly, I couldn't be happier with the impact he's had in the team so far. Defensively, we were a lot better today. You've seen the fact that we only conceded, I think, 1 shot the entire game. Conor Hazard was only brought into fruition once. Yeah, it was great defensively. Duffy even had a solid game. But look, Kilmarnock didn't really worry us. But we never allowed them that chance to worry us. You know, that was it. We were so well set up today, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like this was a Celtic team who was out there with a plan. And before people start asking in the comments, because I know it's going to be the best, the top liked comment, I know it's going to be the most regular occurring comment in today's video. No, I'm not suddenly on the Lennon inside of things. I still think we need to change. I'm going to come on to the whole performance in a minute because there was a point I wanted to make, but you know, we still need to make a change. That is evident. I think that the team are kind of a dead end with Lennon. We've been through it all. And this one game isn't going to change it, but today was the first time in a long time, and it's shocking it's taken this amount of time into the season, where I feel like Celtic have had a genuine plan in the park. There's been a kind of system that looks fluid and familiar to the players, and ultimately they just looked confident in what they were doing with each other. I think the first 10 minutes you seen a nice link up between Edouard and Turnbull, which was going well, passing looked nice between them. Taylor looked comfortable on that left hand side. Christopher Ayer is looking great on the right hand side in a minute, and all these connections around the park today just looked nice. Duffy looked confident in himself, and he looked comfortable beside Christopher Julian for the first time. So there's a lot of positives there from today's performance. But it is a shock that it's taken till December what is it today? December the 14th or something, December the 13th, for that to come around. You know, a performance like that where the players look well gelled. I mean, this is a team who's off the back of winning 2 trophies last season and potentially a treble this weekend. You know, and we're looking like that for the entire season. It's shocking, but today was great. A lot more fluidity in what we were doing. And I really can't complain with anybody. I mean, you see Shane Duffy scoring, you know you've done something right. But you see Shane Duffy have a decent enough performance, you know you're doing something right. There was never a point in the game where I was like, with Duffy, because we've been doing that a lot. So maybe there's a newfound confidence for him, and maybe it will let him kick on. You can only hope for that. Because ultimately, you know, this is a guy who we've invested a lot of money into through this loan deal. And we've invested a lot of money around the team as well, not just him. We need to be playing like this, week in, week out. The first half performance by any means was not great. I think that, if anything, and I might controversially here, I think it was very poor. I think it was just the same old. What we've seen in the past 12 games. You know, I thought it was terrible at times. First 10 minutes were good. I thought the first 10 minutes we looked hungry. But I was listening to Strachan and listening to a lot of other people at half time, and I just don't agree. I don't think it was that great in the first half, simply. But second half was superb. It was brilliant. We made up for it big time in my eyes. You know, we could have scored 4, 5, 6 goals in that second half. There was a real change. But a lot of people, I was listening to Strachan, it's like, you know, decent first half. I don't think it was decent by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was, once again, very poor. We weren't creating enough. We looked stagnant. Edouard today was miles off it. A big part of that kind of first half failure, I would say. But, you know, it wasn't great. And I didn't have, and people were, once again, Strachan was saying, oh, you felt at half time today something different and all the rest of it. I'm like, no, I didn't. I honestly was sitting at half time going, it's going to happen again, isn't it? Come on, like I'm going to end up going up scoring and winning. But there was a real change in the second half, and fresh legs coming on like Kamara, El Yunusi, and all the rest of it were brilliant. El Yunusi today, once again, more chances like that had to be made. We need to be taking on defenders, running into them, getting a wee bit of space, taking a shot on. And of course, a wee deflection I think was given to help the shot go in. But at the end of the day, we need to be a little bit more ambitious in times. And today was a really good performance. It's a step in the right direction as to pulling back this gap that we see right now. But there's still work to be done. It's one game at a time now at this point. You know, there's no point in saying, oh, that's a win now. We're going to win the cup final. We're going to beat Ross County and all this. Because it's not the case. We know it's not. It is generally one game at a time at this point. But we've got to keep the momentum up for these players who have came into the team. Soro has to keep starting. Turnbull has to keep starting. Ayer, does he keep starting on the right? I don't know, I prefer not to speak. Look, there's a lot of things that were positive today, so let's just be happy that we've won for a change, and I can actually sit down and talk in a video in a positive manner. It's been a long time, so I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. Anyway, that about does it. I don't think I've got anything else to add. Let me know what your thoughts of the game were down below. Celtic 2, Kilmarnock 0. I'll see you all next time.